And chapter 20 is taking us, we're still in this cardiovascular system, and we're now moving into the blood vessels. Because we talked about the heart. We know that the heart is a pump. We know that it's pumping the blood. And we've got to have some way to get this blood around the body. So our blood vessels are going to be the pipes for that blood. Their job is well, it's, you know, to say that it's as important as the heart, I don't know. However, they're going to do a lot of things. Okay, the blood vessels are going to definitely do a lot of things, and they're going to do stuff like help regulate blood pressure, for example. But one of the things about it, they're going to have a structure that's going to be very unique, because we have to make sure that the blood that circulates, that we keep it enclosed, so to speak, until we get it to the tissues where exchange needs to occur. So the structure of the vessels, as we look at the arteries, to the capillaries, to the veins, back to the heart, the structure is very unique about them, all right? So when we look at our vessels, okay, and note that's probably how I'm going to refer to them, as the vessels. Just remember, arteries away, veins to, okay, the heart. Capillaries is where things are going to get very interesting, okay? So that's going to be the cool part. Now, if we look at this cross section right here, and if we follow what they're trying to show us, capillaries, just barely visible. Can you kind of see the little spot? Okay, the little space that they're showing. Now here, look at this structure right here. That's an artery. Now, a couple of things I want you to notice about this, okay? We're going to find that the vessels have 3 layers. Those layers are referred to as the tunics. Does everybody know what a tunic is? It's a coat. It's like a cape that you wear, okay? So we're going to find that there's these 3 tunics. For an artery. Now, a vein. What are some of the differences you note just in this picture right here between the artery and the vein? The size. Huh? Tunics are going to be present also. The layers are different. Let's look at this. This inside portion of the artery versus the inside portion of the vein. Does it look like something's not there? Elastic fibers. Okay? Look at the middle layer versus the middle layer. Does it look a little different? A little more structure to this muscular portion. Now think about what I just said. This muscular portion. Why am I telling you that the arteries have a muscular portion? Because they need to be able to respond to the beating of the heart. They need to make sure that when we have, all right, a contraction of the heart, that those arteries can expand and recoil. Why don't the veins need that? They're not under pressure. Huh? What? Arteries are under the pressure because that's leaving the heart and that's getting the blood to the tissues. But wait a minute. How do we get it back to the heart? We know it travels in the veins. Note the size of the veins versus an artery. They have a large capacity for holding blood. But wait a minute. There's not the ability for it to expand and contract like the arteries. How do we get the blood back to the heart?
Like in your legs, your muscles move around it, which helps get the blood out.
When we have the blood in the arteries, it's under pressure. For the veins, we're dependent on muscle contractions, okay? We're dependent on movement, breathing, all right? We're dependent on these factors to push the blood back to the heart. So it's really cool structures that we find. And all of this, okay, the size, the structure, is going to be important as to what those arteries and veins, as well as the capillaries, are going to be able to do. So when we begin to look at the vessels, like I said, 3 tunics. Tunic and turna. Well, what does that term sort of sound like? To the inside. This one lines the blood vessel. It is going to be in contact with the blood. I used to have a tube. I don't know what's been touching it. And after being sick, I'm getting like to be a germaphobe. Okay? Think of this as one of your vessels. Because note, blood's got to flow, right? Okay? And then this structure that the vessels are going to have, they're going to have the ability to affect that flow. Have you ever thought about the blood flowing in your vessels? You will now. Trust me. So, the inside, it's going to be endothelium. Do you happen to remember
anything or remember endothelium?
Well, we remember it because it was in the tissues chapter. We're going to be looking at the structure. This inside portion, simple squamous epithelium. What is simple squamous epithelium? The ones that look like the little fried eggs. Okay. Simple, how many layers? One layer. So that's the inside. There's a basement membrane. All right. And then some connective tissue that's going to be present. This structure right here, if you remember from that chapter, that is a very good structure for being selectively permeable. What is that? Stuff should be able to pass through. Diffusion. It's going to have the ability to secrete chemicals that can help stimulate dilation or constriction of that blood vessel. So that inner layer. We're going to see that one of the cool things about that inner layer, we can't have the red blood cells stick to it. Okay, that's not good. So it has the ability to repel the cells. And that keeps them from sticking to this inner layer. When tissues around the vessel get inflamed, these endothelial cells that are present, they can produce CAMs, cell adhesion molecules. If you got inflammation, that's the body trying to protect itself. So what this will do, it will say, hey, white blood cells, come here. Now, inflammation isn't always good, okay? They're finding that inflammation in the body is the cause of a lot of problems, all right? The more you can keep inflammation down, the healthier you'll be and the better you'll feel. In times where the body needs to fight off something, this is beneficial because it brings in the white blood cells to do their job. The middle layer, smooth muscle.